Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 61 to 65 of chapter 2. Tani sarvani sanyamya,
Tani sarvani sanyamya,
yukta asita matparaha,
yukta asita matparaha,
vashe hi yasyendriyani,
vashe hi yasyendriyani,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
dhyayato vishayan pumsaha,
dhyayato vishayan pumsaha,
sangasteshu pajayate,
sangasteshu pajayate,
sangat sanjayate kamaha,
sangat sanjayate kamaha,
kamat krodho bhijayate,
kamat krodho bhijayate,
krodhat bhavati sammohaha,
krodhat bhavati sammohaha,
sammohat smriti vibhramaha,
sammohat smriti vibhramaha,
smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha,
smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha,
buddhinashat pranashyati,
buddhinashat pranashyati,
ragadvesha vimuktaistu,
ragadvesha vimuktaistu,
vishayanindriyaischaran,
vishayanindriyaischaran,
atmavasyairvidheyatma,
atmavasyairvidheyatma,
prasadamadigacchati,
prasadamadigacchati,
prasade sarvadukhanam,
prasade sarvadukhanam,
hanirasyopajayate,
hanirasyopajayate,
prasannachetaso hyashu,
प्रसन्नचेतसो यासु
buddhi paryavatishthate.
बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So last week we were seeing the sadhana of prasadam. I was giving you the deeper principles first of Atma Vashyahi and Vidheyatma. Then we were seeing the different dimensions of prasadam. Now, a question may come to your mind as you keep attending these discourses week after week. That is, every week so many points are being given, different angles are being given. Now, how is it practically possible to remember all this and function in life? When you look at the intellectual aspect of these points, it is practically not possible to remember all this. You'll remember, that's why I asked you to, recapitulate the points after the session is over, and then you write it down, put it in the comment section so that I will also have a look at it. All these are fine. But the very next week, more points will be given. After that, more points will be given. Now, after 5 weeks, now if I were to ask you, what did I give you 5 weeks back? Now, it is almost impossible to remember all those. But this is at the intellectual level. That is, if you approach it at the intellectual level, you will not be able to remember each and every point. But if you take the yogic approach, which is going by the spirit of what is being said, which is absorbing the energy behind each and every point which is being given. If you have that kind of an approach, then whether you remember the exact point intellectually or not, you will be able to live the spirit of this wisdom. That is what is more important. Now, I am not saying you should not put an effort to try and remember the points intellectually. That is very helpful. But what can happen is, as we go along week after week, and I am also opening up this treasure house of wisdom, there is a chance that you may feel completely overwhelmed after a while. My God, so much is there to practice. Now, when am I going to master all these principles? It is not like that. From the yogic approach, once you are able to absorb the energy behind these verses, then different points may be given. It does not matter, but it all actually takes you to that one infinite source within you. See, the common ground, the common aim of each and every verse, and not only each and every verse, each and every point in every verse, is nothing but taking you to that center. So as long as you are moving towards your center, which is the infinite being, now you are living this wisdom. A person may remember many points, but if he is merely using it to increase his ego, he gets into a feeling, I know more. And he starts giving lectures to others. Do you know what this point is? Do you know what that point is? But he fails to live it. He fails to get into the spirit of these verses. Then that is a waste of time. So remember this, the scriptures are actually like a forest. We saw this in one of the verses earlier in chapter 2 only. It is like a wild, dense forest. You may get lost there if your approach is intellectual. But if you keep this goal clearly in mind, that is, the scriptures are only trying to get you move within and get connected with the infinite. If you keep this in mind, then you will study all this. Week after week, you will go on absorbing whatever is given. You will reflect upon them. Then you will go to the next principle. Now, your focus will be on living it, transforming yourself, and evolving spiritually, moving towards the infinite, raising your consciousness. There is a world of a difference between these two approaches. So spirituality is not about retaining the points and reproducing the points. It does not stop there. When you take any external education, you will find that you just have to study and then retain the points, and then reproduce them. But when it comes to spirituality, it does not stop there. It is actually living these principles which matters most. So while absorbing, you absorb all the points which are given to you. But when you're trying to practice, you will naturally be inspired by one point here, one point there. Just pick up that point and start doing the sadhana. Then you may ask me, what about the other points? When you start living these points and as you evolve spiritually, automatically the other things also will come to you. All the other points, you'll start living them. It's like, supposing there is a mala, a rosary made of many beads, Now you just pick up one bead and you lift the mala. All the other beads also will get lifted up. So you should focus on that one or two beads which you are extremely inspired with. So for one person, one point may be inspiring. For another person, another point. So initially when you're receiving, receive them fully. Try to recollect and reproduce. But when you're trying to practice, whatever naturally inspires you, you pick that up and start practicing. What is interesting is, in a mala, you pick up any bead and lift the mala, the other beads will come. The entire mala will be lifted up. So what is important is the lifting of that mala, not which bead you are focusing on. So the beads are these various points. The mala is your personality, your consciousness. So what is important is for you to raise your consciousness. The infinite by its very nature, has infinite dimensions to it. So the same word, the same verse, the same phrase, if I keep taking week after week, I'll go on giving infinite number of dimensions. So by mastering all those externally, you can never hope to reach the center. But even if you take up one dimension and then move towards the center, that is when you can gain a complete mastery over the scriptures. Mastery over the scriptures externally makes you a scholar, but it does not transform you. Mastery over the scriptures by mastering yourself makes you a saint. There is a world of a difference between a scholar, a pandit, and a saint, a yogi. So the aim of these sessions are not to make you mere scholars, but the aim is to make you yogis. So what did we see last week? The Atma Vashyaihi Vidheyatma Prasadam Adhi Gacchati. Now I told you, you should learn to be centered on the Atman, the self, the spirit aspect within you. Now, even while studying these scriptures, even while listening to these discourses, while taking the healing, after the discourses are over, when you're sitting in meditation, when Sangeethan is there, the bhajans are being sung, whatever it is we are doing, now all those individual aspects will be extremely enjoyable for you, but you should have your goal fixed. And that is Atma Vashya. You should be centered on the Atman. Your goal is self-improvement, self-purification. And Vidheyatma is you go on purifying yourself to such an extent where you become one with the infinite. When a student is focused thus, each and every point, each and every dimension which is given by the master will go on uplifting him or her. But when the student is not having this focus, why a few dimensions? Thousands of dimensions may be given, but still there will be no transformation. So it is all up to you. What are you seeking? In the Upanishads it is said, verily one who seeks God shall see God. Seeing there doesn't mean seeing with the two physical eyes. It means the internal experience. The criteria they have put is you should seek. So you may come to these sessions because you have some problem in life. Let us say you have a health issue, or you have a financial problem, or you have a relationship issue. That is good for a start. But when you are gaining this wisdom with the sole focus on solving that problem, remember your center has not shifted. Your center is still external only. Why I'm saying it's good for a start is because at least in order to solve a problem, when you get to the ancient wisdom, that is better than not coming to the ancient wisdom at all. And you will find that as you keep absorbing this wisdom, as you keep receiving the higher healing Shakti which the master goes on invoking, your problems will get solved. But the moment the problem gets solved, Now that is a test. If you have truly absorbed the spirit of the ancient wisdom, now your mind would have shifted from the problem to the Atman. Okay, the financial difficulty which I had now has got solved, or this relationship issue which I had has got solved. Now that is not the end all of life. There is so much to learn. There is so much to improve. So let me go on gaining this wisdom till, I purify myself to such an extent where I experience the infinite. So that will become your goal. Prasadam adhigacchati. So when you have that kind of approach, he says, you will attain peace. So when he talks of some person who will attain peace, that is again putting it in third person. It is putting it away from you. But as far as you are concerned, whenever he talks of some sadhak, some yogi, now you should immediately put yourself there. So when you practice this, you will attain prasadam, the peace. And the deeper meaning of prasadam, the third dimension, which I gave you last week, that is where the real depth, the sadhana of prasadam lies. Considering everything which you have in life as a gift from God, gift from the infinite. It is a beautiful quality. The more you do that sadhana, the more peaceful you will become. What happens is generally the mind has this tendency to complain. The moment you are put in a situation, your mind always looks at all the things which are not okay. Not okay outside you and not okay within you also. And then the mind starts complaining. If I were to ask you to list down all your complaints and you do list them, you will find that 99.99% will be about something outside you. Ego makes you complain. Untamed ego, it makes you complain continuously. There is no end to complaining. If you want to find faults with the world, if you want to find faults with things outside you, you can go on and on and on. It's a never-ending list. You can never be peaceful that way. So imperfection will be there. Then how do you be peaceful? Get into the prasadam bhavana, the attitude of surrender. There is a beautiful incident which happened, in the tradition of the devotees of Lord Vishnu. They call themselves as Vaishnavas. There's Vaishnava group, then there are Shaivites. Shaivites means devotees of Lord Shiva. Different groups call themselves by different names. But if you go to the essence of all these groups, actually it is one and the same. Shiva and Vishnu are never in quarrel with each other. Due to a misunderstanding, it's the devotees who keep quarreling. But if you go to the masters of any tradition, and if you go to the deep principles which the masters have given, you will find that they are all essentially one and the same. So there were three great saints, three great yogis. In the Vaishnava tradition, they call them as Arvars. So many Arvars were there. Arvar means one who has reached an exalted state, exalted spiritual state. One who had become, one who has become a yogi. One who has got connected with the infinite. So there is an incident in their life histories where three Arvars, three saints actually met each other. Poigai Arvar, Budat Arvar, Pei Arvar. Now they are considered to be the Mudal Arvar, means the first three saints, in that tradition. Not that there was no saint before that, first three known saints. That's how you should understand it. It's not that, see, no tradition starts with one master. Because really speaking, when you take the infinite, that is beyond all traditions. So when one particular person becomes known, then the followers form a tradition there. So when they met each other, what happened is one of them, the Poigai Arvar, was in a place where only one person could be accommodated actually. So when the other saint came, immediately the first one said, Oruvar Padukkalam, Iruvar Amaralam, which means one person can sleep here, can lie down here. But now you've also come, two people. So what can we do? Are we to sit and complain? Oh, there is not enough space. Iruvar Amaralam, which means two people can sit. So let's sit and discuss. And then what happened is the third saint also came. So when the third saint came, now what do we do? The space, there is not enough space there. Then they said, Oruvar Padukkalam, Iruvar Amaralam, Moovar Nirkalam. Three people can stand. So the incident is that all the three saints, they stood up and they had a very wonderful spiritual discussion for many hours, but they were standing. It's a beautiful incident which illustrates this prasadam, the bhavana of prasadam. How they never had a complaining attitude. If you are able to develop this, wherever you are right now, you will become very peaceful. Always look for something which is positive outside. As I told you, the mind wants to look at the negative things. But the world is always made up of positives and negatives. So you should do the sadhana of directing your mind to the positive things which you are receiving in life today. So the beauty in that incident is that, see, they practically demonstrated this for the sake of people. It would have been very easy for them to have complained, oh, the space is very less and three of us are here. What is this? But they didn't do that. Rather, they were very grateful to God that that much space was given so that they could stand and have a fruitful discussion. What an amazing attitude, what an amazing bhavana. So right now, wherever you are, whatever be your circumstances, you need to learn to first be happy. I find when people are in India, they are constantly complaining about India. They say, oh, in other countries, how this is there, that is there. But when I went in my travels, what I found is people who are Other countries like US or UK or Australia, wherever it is, they keep complaining about that particular country. They say, oh, our relatives are all in India. I'm talking of Indians, as an example only I'm taking. Oh, our relatives are in the hometown, we are here alone, it's so lonely. When they go to their hometown, they're complaining about something or other. Traffic is not okay, this is not okay, that is not okay. This is the nature of the mind. So you need to practice this sadhana of prasadam in order to calm the mind, considering everything as a gift of God. So there are 3 stages in the sadhana of prasadam. I'll give you those 3 stages now. Last week I had introduced this concept to you. Now we'll go into a little more depth and then we'll go to the next verse. Whenever your mind is in a complaining mode, your focus will be on the ego. The ego will will start dominating. So whether you're giving something or whether you're receiving, first we'll take the example of receiving. It's very easy to understand. Whenever you receive something, the ego will immediately come and say, oh, I have received this. The moment the focus is on I have received this, then you will get into a complaining mode, because you are not appreciating the fact that the other person has given you something. Rather you feel, oh, it is my right, I deserve it, therefore I am getting this. So what will happen is, as I told you, every aspect of the world has positive aspects and negative aspects. So your mind will go to the negative aspects and you will start analyzing and say, what that person has given is not okay. That person himself is not okay. All these kind of thoughts will start coming to you. Now, the next stage, as you keep doing your sadhana, from that stage you will move to the next stage where your focus will shift to the person who is giving you. The moment your focus shifts to the person who is giving you, rather than you, that is the ego which is receiving it, what will happen is you will start developing gratitude towards that person who is giving you something. That is a stage where you have evolved. You have moved up in the spiritual ladder. And when you keep on doing the sadhana further and further, you will come to a stage where you understand that there is no giver, there is no receiver. It is all the play of the infinite. So every time someone gives you something, you bow down to that infinite power. This person has been a tool in you receiving something from the infinite. You get into that exalted state. See, for example, right now you are listening to these great truths. We will apply it. We will apply the prasadam sadhana and see. So the lowest way of functioning is if your focus is on, all this wisdom is being given, but I am the one who is receiving it. So I am receiving it so wonderfully, and I am receiving it better than my spouse or whoever it is who is seeing with me. Then what will happen is, whatever is being given here, instead of purifying you, that will only increase your ego. So session by session, the more number of points you gain, the more your ego will be strengthened. Yes, now I know more. Now I had mastered verse 63. Now I've mastered verse 64. I know so many things now. This is how the ego, dominates the personality, But then when you go on doing your sadhana very sincerely, the focus will shift from you who is receiving to the person who is giving, the immediate person who is giving. So then you will develop gratitude. Oh, how wonderful it is that every week here is a person, who is giving me that wisdom. So you will start developing that gratitude. The moment you start developing gratitude towards anyone, it means you're doing your sadhana properly. When you are in the complaining mode, the sadhana has not yet started working, or it may be in the process of working if you're sincerely trying to do. But only when you start experiencing gratitude, the sadhana has started the real purification. But then when you continue with your sadhana, no doubt it is good when you say that here, my gratitude to the master who is giving so much. That is good for a start. But that is not the highest level. A true master will not be fully satisfied when you say that, oh, sir, you are so wonderful, I feel so grateful to you. That is only a start. That is better than the first state, where you don't have any gratitude at all. But then, as you do your sadhana, the master takes you to the next level, where there is no giver, no receiver, no master, no student, nothing. It is all the infinite, the play of the infinite. So every time when you are receiving this wisdom, you say, I am so grateful to the infinite that it has arranged for a person to come and give me this wisdom. So your entire focus keeps shifting. And once you get connected to the infinite, once you start thanking the infinite, now that infinite is present everywhere. You will start thanking the infinite in each and every experience of your life. Now, with respect to receiving, it is easy. When it comes to giving, it is even more difficult to practice. One is to give with the attitude of, I am the giver. If you have that kind of attitude, again, you will get into the mode of complaining. I am giving. Now, is that person worthy enough to receive or not? See, I'm only saying how the ego will start playing about, You have to be very careful. Just because you do charity doesn't mean now you will evolve spiritually. What is your bhavana when you are giving charity? If you are feeling superior, if you feel that yes, I am superior to others and I am giving to others, then that same action will actually cause your spiritual devolution. Then when you do your sadhana, you will move to the next level, which is where the focus is not on the fact that I am giving, but the focus is on that the other person is receiving. Then you become very grateful to the other person for receiving. See, imagine if you have a true desire to give and if there is nobody to take, then your desire to give cannot express itself. So you are very grateful to the other person that he has come into your life, he or she, to receive whatever you are giving. That is a wonderful attitude, but that is not the highest. And then when you keep doing your sadhana, you will get into the true depth of this word prasadam. That is, I am neither the giver nor is that person the receiver. It is all the infinite. So thus, when you keep practicing this prasadam, when you keep absorbing this principle of prasadam, and when you keep implementing them, slowly what will happen is in life, whether you're receiving something or whether you're in the position of a giver, that is, you're giving something, whatever it is that you're doing, your focus will shift to the infinite. That is when you have truly mastered the sadhana of prasadam. Till then, you should not leave this. It is not enough if you're just merely inspired by these words. Now this inspiration should actually cause a complete transformation in your life. And when I say complete transformation, what it means is transformation in each and every aspect of your life. Just as when you are sane in all experiences. You can't say I'm sane in this experience but I'm insane here. You cannot say that. Similarly, once you develop this bhav, then that will be there with you in each and every experience which you go through in life. So, prasadam adhi gacchati. He attains peace. So now we'll go to verse number 65. Prasade sarva dukkhanam.
Prasade sarva dukkhanam.
Hanirasyopajayate.
Hanirasyopajayate.
Prasannachetaso hyashu.
Prasannachetaso hyashu.
Buddhi paryavatishthate.
Buddhi paryavatishthate.
Prasade means in peace. So in the previous verse, he concluded by saying such a person who practices all the sadhana will attain prasadam. Prasadam adhigacchati. Now he is continuing further. What happens when you get into a state of prasadam? It is a beautiful verse. The previous verse actually gives you the sadhana. Now verse number 65 gives you the motivation to do sadhana. When you understand the effects of the spiritual wisdom, then you will never leave the spiritual wisdom. Nobody needs to tell you to do sadhana. See, many people ask how to motivate myself to do sadhana. Why is it that you are not motivated to do sadhana, or even the degree is someone may be motivated 30%, someone may be motivated 40%, 50%. What causes the difference? To the extent you understand the value of something, to that extent you will be motivated to do that. If you understand the value of exercises, you will do exercises. If you understand the value of waking up early, nobody needs to tell you, you will automatically wake up early. When you don't understand the value of something fully, when you understand the value merely intellectually, then you say, I know that this is very valuable, but I am not getting the motivation. So verse number 65 actually gives you the value of spiritual sadhana. If you carefully follow this, what will happen is you will develop tremendous motivation to practice all these principles which are being given. And see, that kind of motivation is required, because when we talk of spiritual progress, it is not a one-day practice or anything like that. We are talking of a lifelong practice of self-discovery, self-development, self-improvement, and becoming one with the infinite. So you require, I would say, infinite motivation. Day after day, you should be able to get up and do your sadhana. So verse number 65 is one verse. When I say one verse, there are many verses like that. In this sequence here, verse number 65 is focused on building that motivation for you to do the sadhana. So what is he saying here? Prasade means in peace. When you get into the state of prasadam, what happens? Sarva dukkhanam hanihi asya upajayate. Sarva dukkhanam hanirasya upajayate. When you split it up, hanihi means destruction. Upajayate means arises. So in peace, there arises destruction of what? Dukkhanam. Dukkhanam means of one's sorrows. And then he doesn't stop there. He says sarva dukkhanam means the destruction of one's sorrows in totality. You know, it's very interesting. The phrase sarva dukkhanam can be translated as destruction of all the sorrows, but that does not give the punch. You know, I'm doing the yogic translation of the Bhagavad Gita, where through the translation itself, many clues can be given as to what is the deeper meaning of the verse. So I have deliberately put it as destruction of one's sorrows in totality. Because when we say all the sorrows, that is only referring to the quantity of sorrows. Whereas sarva, the word sarva, is both quantitatively and qualitatively. A qualitative decrease in the sorrows and a quantitative decrease in the sorrows. So how would you put that in English? Destruction of one's sorrows in totality. I'm first translating, then we'll go into the depth of it. It is amazing what he's saying. Then prasanna chetasaha. Prasanna means tranquil. Tranquility or brightness. You know, different dimensions are there to the word prasanna. So, prasanna chetasaha. Chetasaha means the mind. So, when the mind becomes tranquil, hyashu. Hyashu means quickly. That is, ashu means quickly. Hyashu means he ashu, indeed. See, he is putting the word indeed just to say that this is for sure. Whenever we talk of any law, we are very sure about the outcome. See, for example, when you're boiling water, and as the water is nearing 100 degrees, now we are very sure that it's going to become vapor. When you're talking of other things which are not laws, then the outcome can be this or the outcome can be that. We cannot be sure. That is the difference between a fact and an opinion. Opinions can be varied, but fact can be only one. So here, the fact that he uses the word he means indeed. Means he is very, very sure about it. it means he's talking about the law of cause and effect. If you have this cause, this is the effect which you will get. It does not matter who you are, where you are born, whether you're wealthy or whether you're not wealthy. All these things do not matter. If you do this, all these things, this will be the outcome. This will be the positive outcome. Indeed, prasanna chetasaha, when the mind is tranquil, what happens quickly? Ashu means quickly. He says, buddhihi paryavatishtate. The intellect quickly becomes firm. Paryavatishtate means becoming firm. Tishtate means steady, So in the first half of the verse, he gives you the consequences of peace, the positive results of becoming peaceful, and in this that is internally. And then in the second aspect, the second part of the verse, he gives you, there also is talking about the internal state, but with a reference to the world, how you will become prepared to face the challenges of the world. So he is splitting the benefits into two parts and he is giving us both. So either way you look at it, whether you want to be successful in the world, this wisdom will help you. Whether you want to attain spiritual success, again this wisdom alone will help you. So in peace, there arises the destruction of one's sorrows in totality. Indeed, when the mind is tranquil, the intellect quickly becomes firm. So now we will go into the different aspects of this verse, So prasade means in peace, referring to verse number 64. Remember that. What arises? He says destruction of sorrows. Dukkhanam hanihi upajayate arises. So destruction of sorrows means all your agitations, your stress will go away, he says. He's talking about a state of no agitations. It's a very, very powerful state. And that state, getting into a state of perfect relaxation. See, today when we talk of relaxation, there are very many courses which teach you how to relax. Now we are only talking of external relaxation. But the real relaxation of the mind can never happen when the seeds of stress are still there in the deeper layers of the mind. So just by, we find that they stop by giving auto suggestion, just relax. That is, temporarily the mind will relax. But as long as the seeds are there, the deeper layers of the mind, again and again, the stress will keep on manifesting. So here, he says destruction of sorrows, which means destruction of all forms of stress. Not merely at the superficial level, not temporarily. Sarva dukkhanam. Right from the roots, the stress is removed. This is not stress management. This is stress removal. See, even relatively, if you take any field, let us say you take a field like martial arts. Now that is self-defense. They go on training themselves to be very calm even under extreme provocation. They have certain practices. For example, in certain advanced practices, once they come to a certain level, what they do is they ask the other person to keep punching them, not actually punch, but just act as if they are going to punch them and bring their hand close to them like this, And when that is being done, they usually practice not to blink the eyes. See, generally, when somebody comes to punch you, you will blink your eyes, right? So the martial artist practices just to keep the steady gaze. Why? Because even under extreme challenges, they don't want to lose sight of what is happening, because unless they are very much alert, they will not be able to give the suitable response. So they practice it at that level. Now in spirituality, we practice this at all levels of the personality. We go on practicing this where a stage comes. Any challenge may be thrown at you, but you will continue to remain at a peaceful state. That is the state of a yogi. We are talking of the inner state of peace. Again, don't confuse it with external action. I did cover it in one of the previous verses. I think it was the previous verse or the verse before that, where many questions were asked. That if we are totally calm and composed, then how will we act in the world when there is injustice and all that? That is at the action level. But even if your actions have to be effective, you need a calm mind. And that is what he's talking about. Dukkha, dukkhanam hanihi, means all the sorrows have been destroyed. So he uses the word upajayate. Jayate means arises. Upa means along with. So upajayate means along with peace arises a state of no sorrow. Means both go hand in hand. A person who is very stressed cannot be peaceful. A person who is truly peaceful cannot have any stress. Sorrow, the word dukkha, has been taken as an example, but it is not restricted merely to sorrow. Any form of stress that we saw in the earlier verses, different modifications. It could be anger, it could be jealousy, it could be greed, it could be sorrow. So whatever be the stress factor, he says that will go away. Dukkham, kam means happiness. Dukkham means removal of happiness, which is what we call as sorrow. So now he is saying that dukkha will be destroyed. So removal of sorrow is the state of happiness. Very, very interesting. See, if you were to carefully observe your own mind, every time you are fulfilling a desire, what happens? See, why is it that you want to fulfill your desires? First, you need to understand the psychology of your own mind. When you have a desire and when you are seeking fulfillment of that desire, what is it that you are actually wanting? Is it merely that object of desire? Why is it that you want to fulfill your desire? You should think about this. Let us say you have a desire to buy a particular car. Now, if you were to carefully observe the state of mind before the state of fulfillment of the desire, it is in a state of excitement, stress. Before a desire is fulfilled, when you have a desire and before the desire is fulfilled, you are in an excited state because you don't know what's going to happen. Your desire may be fulfilled, desire may not be fulfilled. So there is a lot of expectation that the desire should be fulfilled. That gives rise to a tremendous excitement, a high, or the fear, the doubt, what will happen if this desire is not fulfilled. That can again give you stress. So whatever be it, whatever be the possibility, whether it is going to be fulfilled or not, the hope of fulfillment or the fear of the anxiety of non-fulfillment, that causes tremendous stress within you. The mind is not in a calm state. I am talking of a normal person. For a yogi, he doesn't fulfill a desire in that way. He fulfills it in a very calm way. That is what is called as the Ichha Shakti. But normally speaking, when the desire comes up, you are in a state of agitations. Now, why is it that the desire is seeking fulfillment? When the desire gets fulfilled, which means when you get the object of the desire, immediately you will find that the mind calms down temporarily. Every time you fulfill a desire, you get the object of the desire, immediately your mind becomes peaceful. All the agitations, the stress which you experienced before the fulfillment of the desire instantly vanishes. So the state of peace and the state of no stress go together. This is what you're calling as happiness today. You are in a state of dukkha, a state of sorrow, and whenever you fulfill a desire, you temporarily get into a state of sukha. Sukham means it's the opposite of dukkham, You get into a state of no agitations, no stress, which you call as sukham. In the next verse, he will be talking of sukham. Now, if this is what you are seeking, it is very interesting. It means you are not seeking that object of desire. Even though it looks as if you are seeking the object of desire, that is only an immediate goal of yours. But you are seeking a state of no agitations through that object of desire. Supposing you want the car. Now you feel my desire is to have the car. But actually what these masters are saying is, you are not seeking the car per se. If you know that that car will give you sorrow, you will not seek it. You feel that by getting that car, I will be happy. I will be in a state of no agitations. You don't think that you want to be in a state of no agitations. You just use the word happiness. I'm only analyzing further for you so that you understand that what you're calling as happiness is nothing but removal of sorrow. So you feel that that car can give you happiness. That is why you're going behind the car. And when you get the car, temporarily you feel happy. All your agitation cease. You feel wonderful. But remember, this way of doing it is always temporary. That peace which you experience through fulfillment of a desire is not long lasting. It no doubt gives you a certain amount of happiness, but before you even experience that, other sources of stress come and flood your mind. So the first thing which we can understand from what he's saying is that in life, the the reason why the mind is running after so many things is the reason is the quest for peace, the quest for happiness. Happiness, he is technically defining it as destruction of sorrow, dukkha hanihi. We will right now call it as happiness for easier understanding. So one person is seeking wealth, another person is seeking name, a third person is seeking fame, fourth person is seeking relationships, or one person, when I say fourth person, you yourself may be seeking all these at different periods of time. Now, when you are seeking wealth, what he's saying is actually your goal is not wealth. It is because you feel that wealth can give you happiness, you are seeking wealth. Wealth is only a tool which you are trying to use to calm your mind, to get into a state of happiness. Similarly, when you're wanting name or fame are only tools by which you're trying to calm your mind. Actually, everything which you are seeking in the world actually is only a tool by which you are trying to calm your own mind. Unless and until you understand this, you can never ever overcome that greed which you have for things. You may ask me, what is wrong if I am greedy about wealth? See, there's not a question of something being right or wrong. Is that going to give you peace of mind or not? That is the question. Whenever you get an object of desire, it calms your mind, but that is only temporary. Thereafter, the stress further increases. Because every desire you fulfill without your control, in a non-sadhana way, in a non-yogic way, it only increases your agitations further. That is why you find a person achieves so much in life, but thereafter he says, I'm still not happy. The stress factor goes on increasing. See, the more we get things in life today, the more the stress increases. Why? Because of this only. We don't have that basic understanding that our mind is not seeking these objects. Our mind is only seeking happiness. Now, what these great masters are saying, that is, even if you take this verse, in peace there arises the destruction of one's sorrows. Now, one way is every time you fulfill a desire, the sorrow get destroyed, but that is temporarily. It is sarva dukkhanam. In totality, the sorrow gets destroyed. All your stress disappears, which means with or without the object, you learn to be happy. See, why should you use some object from the world to calm your mind? What these great masters are saying is that there is a way by which you can calm the mind without any reference to the world. Once you reach that state, then that becomes permanent, because you are not dependent on anything for your happiness. You may still acquire the objects, but that is only for functional reasons. That will not be in order to become happy. Every time you do something in order to become happy, you will never become happy. First, get into a state of happiness. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi. You get into that state. And then when you contact the world, when you do things in the world, when you acquire things in the world, every action which you do thereafter will be an expression of that peace, expression of that happiness. Right now, I'm explaining these great truths to you all. Now, this very action can be done in order to become happy. Or this action can be done as an expression of happiness. When it is done as an expression of happiness, that creates tremendous positive energy. When the same thing is done in order to become happy, that reduces the positive energy. No doubt, when the desire is fulfilled, temporarily the mind is calmed, but more agitations come because one desire will lead to 100 other desires. 100 desires you fulfill, that will become 1,000 desires. There is no end to that. They are not saying don't acquire objects from the world. They are only saying don't acquire objects from the world thinking that they will give you happiness. You know, when we were doing the earlier verses, some questions were asked. Many people had asked this question in different ways. Here is the answer. I didn't take up those questions during that verse because when we come here, you will automatically get the answer. What were those questions? Questions of why is it that the mind feels restlessness? Why is it that the mind is seeking something or other in life? These sort of questions were asked. The answer is this only. The mind is actually not seeking the world. Whenever you're wanting something in the world, you're actually not wanting that object. You're wanting happiness and you feel that that object can give you happiness. But actually that object does not have any happiness. Then you may ask me, how is it that whenever I fulfill a desire, immediately I feel happy? See, you have got into a state of agitation and then you get into the fulfillment of the desire. You get that object, but you are using that object to calm your mind temporarily. So it is the calming of your mind which is giving you that experience of happiness, not per se that object. And this through sadhana, there is a permanent way of calming the mind. Then you will permanently be in the state of no sorrow, happiness. That is what he means by sarva dukkhanam, destruction of one's sorrows in totality. So once you start experiencing this state, that is, after the prasadam, you get into a state of sarva dukkhanam hanihi. Thereafter, you put yourself in any situation, you will find that you will never lose your tranquility. You will never lose your poise. You know, the hallmark of a yogi is his poise. Today, every whiff of wind throws you off balance. Anything, any small challenge confronts you, or rather you confront even a small challenge, instantly your mind goes off balance. You get into a state of stress. So stress management is not enough. When I conduct seminars, management seminars for the corporates, they always ask me, sir, do you take stress management? I say no. But I take something more. Not merely stress management, because that is temporary. I deal with stress in totality. When I say I deal with it, the ancient wisdom deals with it, and I'm basing the seminar on the ancient wisdom, where there is a state which you can reach, where you are completely free of stress. It is stress mastery, absence of stress. But the moment we say absence of stress, doesn't mean now you lose your motivation or alertness in life. You're also 100% alert. We'll come there when we see the second half of the verse. I will explain to you. He says prasanna chetasaha. There are different kinds of calmness. So what effect each one has, that we'll see. It'll be very, very interesting for you, and it will be so useful to you in assessing where you are, and also that will serve as yardsticks to measure your spiritual progress. We'll see that. But first, in peace there arises the destructions of one's sorrows in totality. Hanihi means destruction. Sarva dukkhanam means the sorrows in totality. The quantity of stress also will reduce. The quality of stress also will reduce. Means quality means the intensity. So what will happen as you are doing your sadhana? First, these two things will have to happen. That is, the number of things which earlier used to disturb you now will start reducing. Means earlier, let us say 100 things were causing stress in you. Now only 50 things will cause stress. The remaining 50 will not cause any stress in you. That is a quantitative benefit. Qualitative benefit is, even among those 50 things, the intensity of stress will also start reducing. That is what it means by sarva dukkhanam. Now, this is the greatest motivation for anyone to do sadhana, because ultimately in life you are only seeking happiness. Even if you're doing a so-called wrong thing in life, the reason why you're doing it is because you feel that will give you happiness. If a person is not exercising, let us say he is lazing around. He is not waking up early, he is just lazing. Why is he lazing around? Because he feels that will give him happiness. Whether that will give him permanent happiness or not is a different question. But his motivation to do that is because he feels that will give him peace of mind. Even when a person wants to take revenge, when a person wants to harm someone, why is he doing that? Because he is in a state of agitation and he feels by harming that other person, that will give him peace of mind. Very, very deep, when he says, in peace there arises the destruction of one's sorrows in totality. Sarva dukkhanam. That is the key there. Whenever you're contacting the world in order to make yourself happy, no doubt the sorrows do disappear whenever you fulfill the desire, but that is only temporary in nature. It is finite in nature. You will end up with more stress because you will go on developing more and more expectations. Whenever you do sadhana and get into the state of prasadam, then what happens is, from its source, the mind calms down automatically. And in that calm state of mind, when you contact the world, you spread that calmness. You radiate that positive energy. Whatever activity you're doing right now, just imagine. One is to do that activity in an agitated frame of mind in order to become happy. The other is being perfectly calm, peaceful, happy, and then you're doing the same activity. How much more effective that action will become. That is what Krishna is trying to teach Arjuna. What he's telling Arjuna is, Arjuna, As a warrior, you have your duty to fight this battle, righteous war. Do it in a happy way. Do it in a peaceful way. It apparently sounds absurd. He's standing in a war field, and then he's saying, "Be peaceful." That itself shows that they are segregating. That they are dividing action and attitude, and for they are giving these various sadhanas to refine the attitude that should not be confused with the action. If you want your actions to be productive, if you want your actions to be effective, you need to do it in a calm way, in a happy way. Anyone who does his or her actions in a state of calmness, tranquility and happiness, that person will be maximum productive. The output of that action will increase million times, infinite times actually. A singer who sings happily with calmness of mind will be able to produce the best piece of music. A painter who paints in an inspired way, in a happy way, will be able to produce the highest quality of paintings. So this principle which he is giving is applicable in every little aspect of your life. So start practicing this. What is the sadhana tip? I'll give you the little bit of sadhana tip now, and then we will do the meditation. Next week we'll get into more depth. So the sadhana tip is, from this moment onwards, it's a small practice. Whenever you do anything, see, right now you're listening to this. Listen to this in a happy way. Whatever it is that you do, start doing it out of happiness. Don't do that for happiness. If you're talking to someone, talk from that state of happiness and peace. If you're working in your office, work in a happy way. You will be able to do the sadhana if you're practicing the sadhana tips which were given in the previous verse. That is why he starts off by saying, "Prasade, in peace there arises the destruction of one's sorrows in totality." Practice this. It will add so much of value to your previous practices. When you are listening to Yoga Sangeethan every day, don't do it mechanically. You should look forward to that. You should look forward to every experience of life. When you are eating, do it in a happy way. Eat in a happy way. Then it becomes a sadhana. Don't go on complaining and eating. Okay, so do that sadhana this week. Just practice. Start practicing. How? Again, don't say I'm not able to practice. Don't get into a complaining mode. To whatever extent you're able to practice it, do that. Next week we will go into further depth of this, the sarva dukkhanam hanihi, because the hanihi, the destruction of sorrow, actually happens in 4 stages. And the word hanihi actually represents all the 4 stages. Just one word, 4 dimensions it has, So all that we will see next week. Okay? So now we'll have meditation. There are a lot of questions which I've been getting. So as we go along, you will get all your answers. Okay? So now sit straight. Gently close your eyes. 'Close 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 your eyes. do deep breathing. Become centered in yourself. Visualize that you are drawing the mind which is running everywhere outside inwards. You're pulling the mind inward and you're getting centered in yourself. Just visualize this. With every breath, I'm going deeper and deeper into myself. I observe the mind. I am an observer of my own mind. The various thoughts, desires, I stand apart from my own mind. Why is every thought being generated? Why is every desire seeking its fulfillment? What is it that the mind is essentially seeking? I am one with that infinite being, which is the source of peace and happiness. I am in a state of total peace. I am in a state of total tranquility. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So you must be feeling very, very peaceful right now. The reason is because today I had done a special Nididhyasana meditation where I made you go within and then go behind your mind and observe your own mind. I left it there with the question, what is the mind seeking? that seed has been put deep within you. With the higher healing Shakti, So after this, when you start doing your sadhana, you will find that seed growing into a tree. Your understanding about your own mind will start deepening. Your goals will become very clear in life. You will gain the clarity of what is it that you are actually wanting in life. This does not come merely by bookish study. It's not enough if merely discourses are given on this. But in the yogic approach, the effort is always put to take the student deep within himself or herself and see things, experience things in first person. That is the key. Okay? There have been many people who have been asking for these advanced courses. Actually, several people have put forward the request that can these advanced courses be kept frequently, several times a year. So that part of it, you just surrender to the higher. See, whatever comes to me in a meditation, whenever something is good for you, I will be having it. So the dosage is very important. Whenever we do these advanced programs, you should be able to handle that energy also. So we are going about it in a very careful way. 22 days sadhana, the 22-day program which was there, that itself has filled you with tremendous energy. It will take a while for that energy to settle down within you, and for you to you need to do that sadhana with that material, special material which has been given. And then when you're prepared for more, we are definitely going to have more programs. So as soon as that 22-day was over, the very next day, I got several mails asking when is the next Yoga Sangeethan empowerment, when is the level 2 and all these things. So you need to be a little patient. Probably in March or April, depending on when I get the instructions from the higher, we'll have the Yoga Sangeethan empowerment. More dimensions I'll reveal. But what is important is that you need to do your personal sadhana and go on preparing yourself. See, the more you prepare, the more you will receive. There is no necessity to even ask. The infinite power gives you whatever is best suited for you, whatever you can handle, Okay? So we'll meet next week. Thank you.